nature a barrier to socialism. In fact, rather than being innately good or innately bad, a person is, by turn, greedy and generous, cowardly and brave, pushy and restrained. There are individuals who will sacrifice anything for their family, but will not lift a finger for their neighbor. There are others who will give handsomely to charity, but hold back from their children. Some people are capable of boundless sympathy for animals, but have very little regard for humans, while others, they're the reverse. It all depends on circumstances. It depends on whether people feel vulnerable and threatened or strong and confident. It depends on how the matter at hand relates to the attitudes they have been brought up with and have formed during their lives. In short, people change as their conditions of life and their experience change. And I have learned that if the above statement is true, then it is also true that it is not just exactly what people know that makes them creative or successful, it is how they also know and what they know that is just as important. It is how we know that is the great equalizer among individuals. I am constantly reminded of how right I am and how wrong I am comparing myself to the views of any individual. It is not mental talent or the quickness of speed of computation that determines who should be listened to or not. One needs the views and outlooks of both of us in determining what to strategize for both me and any other individual. It is not just a few individuals we all should follow, but the collaboration with as many guards as possible and workplace democracy. That is absolutely necessary if we are to be successful in attaining our goals. It is only through the input from as many guards as possible that we can assess and plan a realistic, successful strategy. To some people, a collective input from as many people as possible spells a mob disorganized disaster and will lead to our work together getting out of control. But history has proven that nothing can be further from the truth. It is a type of leadership where a few people are making all the decisions for all people that leads to the satisfaction of everybody, leaders included. That scenario of top-down approach is played out far too often, and the bad result is guaranteed when we are being attacked by management like we are today. This is why management has split us further apart from each other by the changing of our work schedule to make communication and working together less possible. And ergo, that is why these rallies for the purpose of unifying the different work shifts are even more essential if we are to accomplish what we all want. And I'll just add that the museum, they look at us workers as being morally inferior to them. They're trained to look that way.
Calling for a boycott of this institution for the way they treat their workers.
And that's why with all the disciplinary
This is a workers' rally to unite their struggle against this oppression.
It's all been on proving that we're really not good people deep inside. That we're really not good, and we just don't measure up to their standards of what is right anymore.
But that's a bunch of crap.
You got that right.
We know what this is about. They want to replace the guards with cheaper workers. They want to replace the guards with a labor force that'll be flexibilized for their 24-hour shows so they can get more profit and make more money. They don't want to pay the guards $15 to $20 an hour. They want to pay them $10 an hour. They want to have them come in whenever they want and work all the overtime they want. They don't want to deal with grievances. They don't want to deal with a union. They don't want to deal with a militant workforce that won't take that kind of crap. They want workers to wait 15 or 20 minutes to go to the bathroom. They want workers that bend over backwards and do whatever they ask. They want workers that don't care about their own family lives, that don't care about their other obligations, that don't have other jobs. They want workers that do whatever they say and don't ask questions. But we're not going to take that crap. This is the struggle of all the working people in the world. This is the struggle we see front and center in this struggle the oppression of Latino people, the oppression of black people, and the oppression of women who are disproportionately targeted by the museum's oppressive tactics. We can't stand for that. The Guards will unite in their struggle against the oppressive museum. We're calling for a boycott of the museum all over Boston and all over Massachusetts. Student groups, professors, art schools, activists, and various other organizations are joining in this boycott. And we're not going to allow the MFA to continue this. They need to rehire guards till you're back up to 130. They need to give you a real contract. They need to apologize to all the guards they've mistreated, rehire the workers that were fired or that quit. And that needs to happen now. But we won't stop the struggle until it does. Workers' power.